Fast Draft just dropped its first ever 15 round best ball tournament. And today we're going to do our best to try to exploit the ADPs in the early tournament stages on Player Profiler. If you have not already signed up for FastDraft, go ahead and use my code NOVA, that's NOVA, for a $50 deposit match. Let's try to hop into this rabbit here, but to go over some of the tournament details, it's a $20 entry, 50,000 in prizes, and you draft 15 spots here, 8 active roster spots, 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, and 2 flex spots. I think the unique thing about this is it also is a third round reversal, which I can't really remember any other apps having that, which is a pretty awesome feature here. I'm going to go over some of the features while we are in the draft as well, but let's go ahead and enter our tournament. All right, so we just filled up and I generally so far drafting these rabbits, to keep him to make sure the audience is well aware. You only have 10 teams in these drafts, so it's 10 teams, 15 players drafted. I generally try to go for 2 quarterbacks and 2 tight ends. That's usually my strategy, right? And then trying to fill out wide receiver and running back from there. At the running back position, I have been getting weird and taking CMC really high in some of these drafts. I do have Bijan Robinson as my RB1, so I will take him there at the running back 1 spot. I also don't know if I can take the sound off of this, so I'm just going to let it roll. And apologies for that. But the cool thing about this and just the the rabbit in general, right? It's starting to fill up really quickly already, but you have 15 rounds. And so in normal best ball drafts, a lot of players, like the Demario Douglas, the Marshawn Lloyds, like those guys typically go. But when you start to look at some of the ownership in those drafts, those guys don't go in these drafts because it's only 15 rounds. So you can get some unique exposure, and you're getting unique exposure with players that likely have a carved out role in their offenses. So in this in this round, Christian McCaffrey goes here at the 8th spot. I do want to remind you guys that it is a third round reversal, which is very unique to Fast Draft. I think it's a pretty nice feature. The other really cool feature that Fast Draft has, and you'll start to see it, is they have a stacking option here. So you can, if I take, say, Nico Collins, you'll go to the quarterback position and you'll be able to see that Nico Collins is there's going to be like a little sandwich, and I'll bring it up mid draft here for those that maybe haven't done Fast Draft before. But you'll see that Nico Collins, CJ Stroud will be like a little stack, letting you know like these are quarterbacks that you can stack. So that's kind of a cool feature as well. Drake London goes here off the board. Brock Bowers. It's coming here on the turn for me, but again, that third round reversal, I kind of have to be careful because I am not going to have a pick for a little bit, taking here at the 208 spot. So take a look here on the board. I mean, I do have an anchor running back. I feel like in these drafts, you really need to grab a top 12 wide receiver in general on every team. So I'm gonna go with AJ Brown here. Switch it up a little bit. I typically take like guys like Ladd, but I'll take AJ Brown in that spot. And if I go here to my team, it's just a smooth app overall. The Fast Draft app, it is new, right? They're coming out with a lot of really cool features, and they really listen to the users and what they want, which is an awesome thing as well. You don't always see that with certain apps and certain best ball companies, but I typically now I've started off here. I have Bijan, I have AJ Brown. I'm good on the buys there, so don't have to worry about that. I typically like to load up on running backs as much as I can. I feel like the market still hasn't adjusted from last year, where everyone was pushing up wide receivers very high in a lot of drafts, and guys like Achane going here in the third round at the 23rd pick is insane value to me, in my opinion. Achane was a top 5 back when Tua Tagovailoa was healthy last year. There's some risk there, don't get me wrong, but I mean, it's still really, really good value there. Um, I don't really typically have a ton of Chase Brown exposure. I will say if I do go quarterback, I like to only go elite, and then I kind of punt the position. Um, I'm gonna go with JSN here. I think there's a real chance that him and AJ Brown can definitely both finish inside the top 10. So we'll take that there, and then I'm gonna see. I might take a swing at the quarterback position, just to get that Jalen Hurts stack. But you'll see here, if you look at Jalen Hurts on the screen, there's a stacking icon there to show you that if you take Jalen Hurts, that'll stack with a player on your team, right? If I scroll down to Sam Darnold, you'll see the little stack icon for him because I took JSN. So just another really cool feature. The other interesting thing you'll notice here too is if you look and you see Philadelphia with Jalen Hurts and you see the 100%, that's the roster ownership. So you will literally get the roster ownership in your face live while drafting. So you'll see guys and who's owned. I think that's a really cool feature as well. That starts to matter later on in these drafts. I'm going to go with Breece Hall here. I know I said I could stack with Jalen Hurts, but maybe I go for a cheaper stack and try to get Darnold as my quarterback too. But I'll take Breece Hall here. Bye week wise, I luck out there with Bijan. AJ Brown and him will have the same bye, but I'm not too concerned about that. But we'll start to man, I really love Davante Adams this year a lot too. I love his value. I'm kind of having to move this all around. So I'm trying to settle in here. But yeah, I mean, if you guys haven't drafted and you are new to FastDraft, you can go ahead and plug in my promo code. That's Nova NOVA, and you get a $50 deposit match. The cool thing is on Fridays, FastDraft is dropping like awesome promotions right now. It's FastDraft Friday. That's when this is being recorded. And the really cool thing about the FastDraft Friday today, what they're offering is they are providing a buy one get one if you do the rabbit and you join the Discord, the FastDraft Discord, which you can find being promoted in a lot of the videos in these descriptions. It'll be promoted in this one as well. But you can join that Discord. A ton of people are sending chats in there about joining a draft and who wants to get in one. People are showing their teams, but you can also chat with the actual creators of the app and send suggestions or have questions, and they're very, very good at responding back. But what you'll do for these promotions is you will provide, like, hey, if you've drafted the rabbit on today where it's a buy one get one promotion, you show that you've done it, and then they will go ahead and give you those promo funds, and they're very quick about it, which is really, really cool. So that's just another really, really nice feature. Tyreek Hill and Davante Adams. Tyreek Hill slips back here to the 5th round. Now, keeping in mind that's a 10-man league. I much prefer Davante Adams over Tyreek Hill this year. I don't want I really just don't want anything to do with Tyreek Hill right now. I've tried to get more in on Hill, but I don't know. You guys let me know what you think in the comments, but I'm not really exactly super excited about Tyreek Hill and getting him. Now, RJ Harvey is a guy that I target a lot in my drafts. I've have him and Davante Adams stacked on teams in many of my drafts. But with it coming back to me here, the quarterback position, we have Joe Burrow. You have Nix, who's pretty high up there at the quarterback position. I mean, you have Burrow. I'm not taking a quarterback this high, but it is crazy to see that the ADP right now you can exploit. I am running out of time here, but I'm going to go with Cortland Sutton. I think there's a real chance that Sutton can actually outperform Terry McLaurin. And he goes past Terry McLaurin here a full round, but even more. I mean, you're talking about 16 picks past Terry. Um, that's pretty good value. So I will take that uh, all day. And I have a strong feeling that I don't really love Terry's cost this year. Now let's try to attack the running back position here for me. I have two guys here. I don't have a lot of Chuba Hubbard. Kenneth Walker behind Connor is really interesting. I'm going to take a chance on Walker here. I am concerned about Walker. I'm going to try to grab Charbonnet to handcuff him later on, but I mean, getting Kenneth Walker, this is the thing, right? With a new tournament with new data, we take a look and we see. I mean, James Conner, I'm a big fan of James Conner, but him going ahead of Kenneth Walker, you're not going to see that on many drafts, on other best ball sites. But right here, I'm getting Kenneth Walker behind James Conner, who's really pushed up and inflated. Um, Kind of interesting. And when new tournaments roll out like this, there's some tournaments take a month to fill on other sites, take some time. And so new information happens, and those ADPs, it takes a lot of drafts to start really pushing them up in their ADP. Here we see Connor, who just goes off the board, and he's going, as I said, ahead of Kenneth Walker, which is pretty interesting. So George Pickens here at the 59 spot. I'm starting to buy a little bit more into George Pickens. Contract year for him. I think he's going to pair up really well with CD Lamb, and I think he can open up things for Lamb too. And I'm not worried that Pickens is going to take anything really off of Lamb's plate. I think Lamb's going to continue to eat, but I also have Dak Prescott as a top 12 quarterback this year. And he's not a guy that's going to produce those points by running for a ton of yards. It's going to be throwing the football. And this rushing attack for the Cowboys is not very good. So, George Pickens' contract year being paired up with, probably a top 10 passing attack in the NFL in terms of just total yards, and a bad run game in a dome. I think Pickens could be a guy that I'm starting to buy in on. I know my guy Chev here, if you do watch the other player profiler videos and podcasts, he's on the Trade Gods podcast, and he's a big fan of George Pickens. We've had conversations, and I'm starting to buy a little bit more in on him. I'm going to do a peek of my roster once I pick the next two selections here, but just taking a peek at some of these selections off the board here, like Jamison Williams or Tyreek Hill. I would rather go Jamison Williams even. I mean, I guess it's a matter with Tyreek of like how far down can Tyreek Hill get pushed down the board. And I mean, there is a threshold where I'm willing to take him. Don't get me wrong, but I'm just not there yet. Now, Chris Olave just went. I was gonna say, man, I'm starting to buy in on Olave's cost too, especially if he can stay healthy. We're looking good on bye weeks here. These drafts, these picks go very quickly, so you have to stay sharp. I'm gonna go with Jordan Addison. Keep stacking on these position players. I really like Jordan Addison. He's a guy that I'm starting to buy in on a little bit more each and every day. He had so many great highlight plays last year. I expect Kevin O'Connell in this passing attack to be good again this year. I know people have concerns about JJ McCarthy, but I'm really expecting Addison to continue to play well, and Jefferson's obviously going to be Jefferson. But I think Addison is a guy that should benefit, from another year, taking a step forward as a young guy. So I'm in on him there. Let's check out the quarterback position because I don't want to get screwed up here. So I can take Nix here, and you saw Nix's price get pushed up pretty high, let's just go ahead and grab the stack now. I'll take him, and it might feel like quote unquote a reach, so to speak, on Nix because I take him at 73. But in a lot of cases, Nix quarterback wise, at least in terms of ADP, he's right behind Joe Burrow. So I don't mind taking a chance on him and just securing that quarterback spot because guys will start to get finicky and start drafting at the quarterback position, and it could get light. So I'll just go ahead and secure my stack there. I've taken all uh, running backs and wide receivers and no tight ends. So I have the luxury to just go ahead and secure my quarterback there. I like the team so far. Let's give it a quick view. Really, again, really sharp layout and format here. I have Bo Nix here. I stack him with Cortland Sutton, running backs Bijan, Breece Hall, Kenneth Walker, all on different buys, which is really nice. So I don't have to worry about that. At the wide receiver position, we have AJ Brown. We have JSN, Cortland Sutton, Jordan Addison. None of those guys have the same buy as well. And I expect all these guys to pretty much be on top 15 offenses in the NFL at the wide receiver position here, unless Sam Darnold, shits the bed. But we're invested in good offenses, which is very nice. I'm excited to see what Kubiak does for Seattle. It's really just the biggest wild card is Sam Darnold. Like, can Sam Darnold continue to play well from what we saw last year? I'm concerned about the offensive line in Seattle, but I think the Kubiak can help that. So we'll see. But I'm expecting that Shanahan Kubiak system because he comes from that tree. I'm expecting him to make that engine run a little bit better, right? They got rid of Grubb last year, and I was expecting a high-powered passing attack there. I think with Kubiak, they're looking to get a little bit more established to run, which I don't think is a bad idea. Now, we talk about taking advantage of ADPs here. Quinshon Judkins goes here at 83 behind Isaiah Pacheco, Brian Robinson, DeAndre Swift. In many such cases, again, Aaron Jones, in many such cases on other best ball apps, you're going to see Quinshon Judkins be, go in the top 15 at the running back position. Right here, I mean, he's pretty far down. So that's really good value. He's going next to Jordan Mason. I like Jordan Mason, but really sneaky value there. I'm back on the board here. Josh Downs is another one of my guys. Let's check out the tight end position. I can stack with Evan Ingram here. I love Evan Ingram, so I will take Evan Ingram here at the tight end position. I don't mind taking reaches, guys. You'll start to notice that about me, especially in a 10-team league. I don't mind taking some reaches because I really want to get some of these stacks. So yeah, I'll take Evan Ingram. It's a slight reach, 10 spots above his ADP currently. But I think Evan Ingram could settle in front of Kelsey by the time August comes in terms of draft position. So, I mean, I'm good with that. Quarterback position wise, we're still looking pretty good. I can take JJ McCarthy later on, or take a swing on Sam Darnold. Check the running backs here. I should probably take care. Possibly, I'm going to continue to hit running backs and wide receivers. I like Darnell Mooney. I've told you guys how I feel about Josh Downs. I like him. Let's see. I'm going to try for Travis Etienne on the way back, but let's go with Josh Downs here. And we'll try to secure ETN on the way back because recent reports are that ETN likely is going to get the first crack at running back one in this offense, which really doesn't surprise me. So I'll take a chance on ETN there. But I like how the team is shaping up so far. I've gotten some good stacks. Again, I really do like. I mean, you saw with the Evan Ingram thing, like if I just scroll down through here, I mean, I'm looking for Broncos because I only have one quarterback, but you see Marvin Mims there with another stack. Super cool. You get to see the roster ownership. So Marvin Mims goes in 91% of drafts. Again, a feature that other apps don't have, but people want in other apps. And so they've provided that. You can also see on the right side here ownership percentage wise. I haven't done a ton of these drafts. You see, I have Warren and Najee Harris. I think I fell asleep and didn't end up getting my first fast draft app. I tried to, once I saw them, well, my first rabbit draft, once I saw fast draft was dropping, the rabbit contest, I got in like that night and fell asleep by the time it filled. And I just got auto drafted a team. So that's why like you'll see some of this ownership here. But I haven't got a chance to draft a ton of players. I do have Charbonnet in 100% of my drafts, which is very nice. He's a guy I'm going to try to take a crack at later on. Bershal Tootin goes here. Travis Etienne goes right behind him. On other apps, Travis Etienne is usually around pick 103. So that's interesting when you consider, the recent news, and Tootin goes right behind him. Let's take a look at the running back position here. I might want to take a chance on Najee Harris. It's not super inspiring. Yeah, I'll take Najee Harris. Sorry for the noise there, folks. But yeah, I'll take Najee just as it's gonna be a high rushing attack over there with the Chargers. And he's the one thing about Najee is he stayed very healthy. I'm not super high on Najee this year, but he stayed healthy. And I mean, if there is an injury to Hampton, he finds himself in a bell cow role. Now we got to take a look here. We got 1, 2, 3, 4. We got 4 spots left. Charbonnet goes right there. I was hoping to get Charbonnet on the way back. So that's kind of unfortunate. Oh, man. Taking a look. Do I take a swing at the quarterbacks here? I'm going to take a chance on Mark Andrews, who I'm starting to get more exposure. I love getting exposure to these later tight ends. I love the cost for tight ends this year. I'll take a chance on Mark Andrews. Hopefully I didn't mess up there on the buys. I did not. So that's good. I don't get correlation with Andrews and my quarterback. In a perfect world, if I'm taking 2 quarterbacks, 2 tight ends, I'd love to pair up the quarterback and the tight end for both of those stacks. But given that it's only 15 slots, that's just got to be what it is. Sometimes you're gonna fall short in some spots on stacks, but I'm gonna go for probably JJ McCarthy, try to secure that Viking stack, and then throw a Hail Mary at Sam Darnold if I don't get it. But at least I know the tight end position's good. One guy I really like here is Cedric Tillman. You look here, 39% roster ownership. I do think there's a very, very solid chance that Cedric Tillman could wind up finishing better than Jerry Jeudy this year. I know it sounds crazy, but I'm going to throw him in the queue just so, as I'm talking here, just in case I miss out. I want to make sure I secure him. But very, very high on Cedric Tillman. Some other interesting exposures here. Alec Pierce has not been drafted yet. And I know he's a long shot player, but Alec Pierce had some really, really high spike weeks last year. So he's an interesting guy. Quentin Johnston, 8.7% rostered in these drafts so far. Marshawn Lloyd, 0% roster ownership. If there's a chance that Josh Jacobs again goes down, right, we're looking at bell cow usage for Marshawn Lloyd. So I'm going to be trying to target Cedric Tillman and Marshawn Lloyd at the back ends of these drafts for sure. So if I can nail the last 3 picks of Cedric Tillman, Marshawn Lloyd, and getting JJ McCarthy, I'll be very, very happy. Let me put JJ McCarthy in my queue here. I will slide him above Tillman because based on ADP and just roster ownership, good chance that, it's a good chance that he goes ahead of Tillman. And then I try to get Marshawn Lloyd, and then we land this plane. We got 4 running backs, 5 wide receivers. I don't feel the need to reach on another receiver. I have a good room there. So let me take a chance on JJ McCarthy here, get that stack. So I have an Addison, JJ McCarthy stack, and I feel pretty good about that. My wide receiver room for being 15-man league, I feel pretty good about this wide receiver room. I mean, Cortland Sutton fringe wide receiver 20 most likely to 25 this year in the range of outcomes, maybe even better. JSN and AJ Brown both have a good chance to finish inside top 12. And then you look at my running backs. I like those as well. Love the quarterbacks. I love my team, but who doesn't love? Most of the time, you like your team, unless you really get sniped pretty hard. I'm going to take a chance and hope that Marshawn Lloyd comes back to me. Let's go ahead and take Cedric Tillman. I would advise anybody drafting in these is to try to get some exposure to these guys that aren't being drafted, right? Get some unique lineups. It's really, really important to look at that. And taking a look at some other guys. And again, let me put Marshawn Lloyd in the queue here. That way we have him ready to go just in case, unless he just got drafted. Oh, don't tell me that. No, I'm just messed up. Sorry about that. Marshawn Lloyd. All right. I am an idiot. Yeah, 2 L's. Duh. Okay, let's queue him up. Obviously, I have no ownership. You see the 0 there. No ownership for Marshawn Lloyd. If you like Woody Marks, he's been drafted in 4.3% of drafts. Not a bad swing there. Marquise Brown, just 13% of drafts. I think he's going to be heavily involved in that Chiefs offense this year. I don't know if he's going to be necessarily a guy that you're comfortable putting in your lineup every week, but in a best ball roster, Hollywood Brown is a very, very good swing to take, in my opinion. And taking a look at some of these other guys, Jalen Coker, if you're a big fan of Jalen Coker, the Carolina Panthers, he's been 0% rostered. And Demario Douglas, I do want to go ahead and put my flag down here on Demario Douglas. Demario Douglas is a guy right now that has been drafted in just 4.3% of drafts. There is a very, very good possibility that he ends up being that wide receiver 2 in front of Kyle Williams, who I really, really like. And Pop Douglas, Demario Douglas, whatever you want to call him, he's electric, man. He's a guy that can give you good yards after catch. He's very twitchy, very athletic player. He was probably one of the lone bright spots on that offense at the receiving position outside of Hunter Henry last year. So a good swing there on a guy like Demario Douglas. If you're a fan of these rookies, DJ Giddens hasn't been drafted yet in any of these drafts. Jarquez Hunter, 17% roster ownership. Kyle Pitts, 69% roster ownership, but he goes practically at the end here. And I don't see Pitts yet, but I'm going to go ahead and take my final pick here with Marshawn Lloyd. I'll give you a final peek of the team here. So again, very clean format with FastDraft. You get Bo Nix here. I get him and JJ McCarthy. I get stacks with Bo Nix and JJ McCarthy. Bo, I get the stack with. Hold on. With Bo, I got the stack with Evan Ingram and I got Cortland Sutton, which was really nice. And then overall, I ended up getting a stack with JJ McCarthy and Jordan Addison. I wind up with a running back room of Bijan Robinson, Najee Harris, Kenneth Walker as well. I took Marshawn Lloyd. And this is how it comes out pretty clean at the end here, guys. I get Mark Andrews, no stack there, but I still really like him in round 12. I draft Cedric Tillman, guys, and thank me later. I'm telling you, he's a guy that you want to take a look at. Really cool here at the bottom of the draft. You'll see the fastest drafter, slowest drafter was me because, I am trying to do this at the same time and work everything out here. But total draft time, 26 minutes, under 30 minutes. That's one thing. FastDraft is called FastDraft for a reason. My pick time, I averaged 17 seconds. The fastest drafter was 7 seconds here. My best value versus ADP was Josh Downs, who got behind ADP by 4.6 spots. I didn't really get a ton of value, quote unquote, ADP based. I didn't really get a lot of guys to fall to me, quote unquote, based on the ADP, but I still think the ADP is all over the place. So while here it might tell me that I didn't get a ton of value versus ADP. The ADP is all over the place. So I don't even trust the ADP, how it's set up, because there's not a lot of drafts that have happened yet in the tournament. So guys get pushed up really easy, guys get pushed down really easy. And so it's a really good chance to take advantage of this value. Rashad Bateman got picked 30 spots behind ADP. But that's going to do it for us, guys. Thank you so much for watching. As I said, use promo code NOVA, NOVA, to get a $50 deposit match. It's been fun, and I'll see you guys next time.